Hey everyone, ready to add a brand new tool to your writer's toolkit? Today, we're going to talk about a secret shortcut that will make everything you write sound way smoother and a whole lot more powerful. Let's get into it.
So here's our game plan. We'll start with the what and the why. Then we'll meet the whole pronoun family. After that, we'll cover some common traps you'll want to avoid. We'll even put your new skills to the test, and we'll wrap up by seeing how this all makes you a much stronger writer.
Okay, let's dive right in. So why on earth should you care about something like pronouns? Well, because getting these right is one of the fastest ways to level up your writing and make it sound way more clear and professional. Just take a look at this. On the left, we've got Jack met Jill. Jack first saw Jill in a restaurant. It sounds a little clunky, right? Kind of robotic. But now look at the version on the right. Jack met Jill. He first saw her in a restaurant. See how much better that flows? That, right there, is the magic of pronouns in action. So what are they exactly? You can think of pronouns as your writing's shortcuts. They're basically stand-in words that jump in to replace a noun, so you don't have to keep saying the same thing over and over. And that original noun that gets replaced, it's got a fancy name, the antecedent. It just means the word the pronoun is pointing back to. Now, not all pronouns do the same job. It's kind of like having a toolkit. You wouldn't use a hammer to tighten a screw, right? Same idea here. Let's open up this pronoun toolkit and meet the whole family. First up are the ones you probably use a million times a day without even thinking about it. These are your personal pronouns. We're talking about words like I, you, he, she, it, we, and they. You know, the classics. Now here's where it gets really interesting. Personal pronouns actually change their form depending on their job in the sentence. So you have subject pronouns. Those are the ones doing the action, like in he believes. And then you have object pronouns, which are the ones receiving the action, like distort them. It's all about who's doing what to whom. Next up, possessive pronouns. These are super simple. They just show that something belongs to someone. You know, like the choice is yours. And here's a pro tip for you. Possessive pronouns never, ever use an apostrophe. It's a really common mistake, but yours is correct, not yours. Okay, these two look almost the same, but they have totally different jobs. Here's the trick to telling them apart. A reflexive pronoun is essential. In she taught herself, if you take out herself, the sentence just doesn't make sense. But an intensive pronoun, that's just for emphasis. In she herself taught the class, you can remove herself and the sentence is still perfectly fine. That's your test. Think of demonstrative pronouns like you're pointing with your words. This and these are for things that are right here, close by. That and those are for things that are a little farther away. Simple, right? Is this your book right here or is that your book over there? And next up, we have relative pronouns. These guys act like little bridges, connecting an extra piece of information to a noun. They introduce a clause that tells you more, like in, the student who won the prize is my friend. That word who is the bridge connecting the student to the cool fact that they won a prize. Okay, so now that we've met the whole team, it's time to talk about the things that can go wrong. Let's look at a few super common traps so you can dodge them like a pro. Think of this as the warning label section. Oh, this is a big one. You hear between you and I all the time, probably because it sounds a little formal. But here's the absolute easiest trick to get this right every time. Just take the other person out of the sentence. You wouldn't say keep this between I, right? No way. You'd say keep this between me. So it's always between you and me.
And here's another trap. Myself is not just a fancy way to say me. You can only use a word like myself when the subject of the sentence is I. For example, I taught myself to code. That works. But in the example on the slide, the correct word is just plain old me.
This one's a little sneaky. When you use words like this or that, you have to make sure it's 100% clear what you're referring to. If your reader has to guess, your writing loses its power. But the fix is super easy. Just add the noun back in for total clarity. All right, theory time is over. You've learned about the tools, you've seen the warnings. Now it's time for a quick test drive. I'm going to show you a sentence, and you can pause to figure out the right answer. Ready? Okay, what do you think? Is it I or me? Think about who's receiving the action of being found. Go ahead and pause here if you need a moment to think. As you're deciding, try that little trick we learned. Would you say they found I or they found me? That should give you your answer. If you chose me, you got it. They is the subject doing the finding. My wife and me are the objects being found. Nice job. Here's another one. Now, this is less about grammar rules and more about the meaning of the sentence. Which word makes the most sense here to create that contrast? Pause and think about it.
Think about the contrast the sentence is trying to make. Everybody wants one thing, but what's the opposite idea?
That's right, it's nobody. And this is a great example of an indefinite pronoun. Words like everybody, someone, and nobody are super useful for talking about people or things in a general way.
We've covered a lot of ground, from all the different types of pronouns to the common traps you need to avoid, so let's pull it all together. So what's the big takeaway here? Pronouns are essential shortcuts. Knowing the different types means you can pick the right tool for the job. And using them correctly is what makes your writing feel confident and precise. It's truly what separates an okay writer from a great one.
At the end of the day, this isn't just about memorizing rules. The more you practice noticing and using pronouns correctly, the more powerful and natural your writing will become. So here's a final challenge for you. What's one sentence you can write today using a pronoun you just learned a little more about? Thanks for watching.